I welcome now to the show Courtney Barrett, who is founder of Binning Knives Saves Lives. This is the news today now that police's powers to essentially allow police really to stop and search on reasonable suspicion, reasonable grounds that they believe that somebody might be essentially tooled up, right? That's going to continue because under Theresa May it was not. It was reversed. They had to suspect that there was an immediate threat, but now it's very much a case of reasonable grounds as far as the police are concerned. Courtney, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
Hello, mate. Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Do you think stop and search is inherently racist?
Well, when the stats say that you're more likely to be stopped by police, you got 5 more times likely to be stopped by police if you're black than you're white, then it's facts.
Well, I think a lot of people would say, well, is it sexist as well then? Because you're a lot more likely to be stopped and searched if you're a bloke, aren't you?
Yeah, that too.
So you think it's sexist and racist?
And ageist as well. I'm more likely to get stopped than an old person. It's just human nature, and individuals' minds perceive a risk because of whatever they perceive, why they perceive it in their minds, I don't know. But it's down to individuals. It's not down to a whole entity of police officers, you know? Just
out of interest, and take this in the way that I intend it, is it not the fact that potentially it's more likely, just again off numbers I suppose really, that somebody who may be an ethnic minority youth, I suppose, out at night on a street might be statistically more likely to be carrying a weapon than a 70-year-old white woman who happens to be walking to the corner shop, you know?
This is a fact as well. They are more likely to be, but the thing is, have you got reasonable grounds to search them? Many times, probably most times, these youths are stopped. There aren't reasonable grounds, you know.
So what do you think it is then? Because the insinuation there is that the police force is institutionally racist.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say it has been in the past. I'd say that there's some great officers. There's lots of officers trying to change the image of the police. But it's almost an impossible job to do when you've got a few bad apples you're always going to have a few bad apples. So when these few bad apples are doing stuff, it reflects badly on the whole police force.
Do you support stop and search?
This is a question I get asked near enough every day. Right. Stop and search, yeah. I think I wish that there was as much stop and search as possible. Yeah. But only once the stop and search procedures have been reviewed, because stop and searches need to be conducted fairly and properly. When they're not conducted fairly and properly, they do more damage than good, a lot more damage than good, especially when it comes to youth that are being stopped. You know?
Yeah, because I think, look, from where I'm at, I said in my introduction, I typed UK stabbing into Google just before I came on air just to check what the news was, right? And the very first page of news on Google, it's just an absolute outcry, mate. It's a pandemic. You know, we've got incidents in Leicester, in Blackpool, in Liverpool, in South London, all over the place. Hyde Park, for example, you know, and that's just one day's worth of news. And so my take on it would be, well, look, if there's no credible alternative to stop and search, there doesn't really seem to be that much of a credible alternative. Surely we just have to do it. And if some people are excessively stopped and searched as a result, if that saves lives, is that not a price worth paying?
If it saves lives, but the thing is, if you stop and search, say you stop and search a 14-year-old and you do it in the wrong manner, the 14-year-old is going to then perceive the police to be the enemy and go down the wrong path in life, you know, kind of thing. You say that there's no other alternatives to reducing knife crime. There are many alternatives.
Okay, go on. What are they?
Well, unfortunately, they're ignored by those in power. Boris Johnson has increased stop and search. If you're going to do something to actually make a difference, why are you not banning the sale of these zombie knives and these knives? Why are they being allowed to be sold online? You know, I can get 10, 14-year-old kids to go online now and they can all buy knives easily within 10 minutes. Well, why are they allowing this? If you're allowing this, anything else you're doing is meaningless. You know, if you're allowing the weapons to be brought in and to be bought and sold, then you're not doing anything about it. They're ignoring all the issues. There's a lot of issues. We need harsher sentencing. It's got to a point where all these things that we need, everyone's blaming it on one thing, one reason, but there's loads of reasons, and they're all being ignored by the government. And those in power, you know, and those who know what to do and what needs to be done are being ignored too.
I get that there are a lot of other approaches in that sense as well, you know, better education in schools, for example, and this, that and the other. There are a lot of those more, I would say, softer approaches that we could be taking. I think one of the clearly the most on the nose and the most direct one is the stop and search element of it. And I think a lot of people listening to this, I'm getting quite a lot of texts and tweets to this effect as well, are saying, look, due to a variety of socioeconomic factors, etc., in areas with a high knife crime problem or drug problem, etc., unfortunately, it does tend to be areas at the moment, like I've said, just through the socio-economic makeup of the country, etc., in areas with a high ethnic minority population. And so actually, the police not just doing their job, right, by going into those areas and doing more stop and search. With respect, you know, there's less point stopping and searching people in Knightsbridge than there might be, you know, in some rougher parts of London, you know?
I just think that the police, there's so few police now, surely they'd be better utilised doing other things, you know. There's so many things we can do to reduce knife crime that the government should be doing to reduce knife crime, you know. And stop and search is one of them, but only once they're doing them correctly. If we're going to just increase the stop and searches the way that they've been going on, you're just going to cause uproar, especially in areas where there's ethnic minorities. I went to a police stop and search showcase last week. And it was predominantly black people there. And when I'm talking about we need stop and search, but it needs to be done in the correct fashion, they don't want to know. They feel oppressed.
Have you been stopped and searched?
Oh, listen, I don't really get stopped and searched for years, but when I was younger, I've been stopped and searched hundreds of times. You know, never. It's just it's almost a normal day.
And what's that like? Talk me through it. How does that work then? So you're what? Are you just walking around?
I'm walking along the street. I'm walking along the street. A riot van might pull up and they'll jump out, and half the time the officers might be friendly and everything. Half the time they might just jump on you, no questions asked. Just depends what you look like in the officer's mind who's in charge, I suppose. I don't know.
And do you think, because I think undoubtedly there was a problem, I think, in a lot of the police forces up and down the country a while ago with outdated views on race and essentially racism, right? I do think that that's the case, and I think that's been proven over history, right? I'm just not convinced that that's necessarily there now. Everyone's wearing body cams all the time, etc.
I don't think it's the same as when I was a kid. It's not like that, you know? But it's almost become instilled in human nature, you know. You have ageism, you have sexism, and you have racism, and it's not like people are actually racist or sexist or ageist. It's almost like human nature. Everyone's prejudiced, and people in their own minds you might see three people standing in a row, and everybody will have a different opinion on these people. But some people, unfortunately, think the worst of some people when they see them, whatever image of the person that they think does wrong, you know.
You've done a lot of work with police, right? You alluded to it earlier on actually. What do they think about stop and search? Do they want to be doing it as much? Do they want to be doing it more? Do they want to be doing less?
Okay, to be honest with you, I do a lot. When I liaise with the police, is to do with knife crime, But I did an article for a newspaper on stop and search. And the police at Scotland Yard liked it so much. And they themselves, they're in the same boat as us, the community. They are short-staffed. Their lives are at risk every day they're going out. It's more dangerous for them. So they're doing a dangerous job, you know. Believe me, as a police officer, you don't want to be stopping and searching people. You're increasing your chances of getting stabbed and stuff, you know. If you do stop and search someone, they've got a knife, then brilliant, you know. But I think the police want to build relationships with the communities. I think they want to put the past behind to rest. But the problem is the ethnic minorities have been so oppressed. It's going to take a lot, you know. And I think the police need to hold up their hands and publicly say, this is how it was. We apologise. This is how it's going to be now. And review their stop and search strategies and procedures. That's what I believe.
Courtney, fantastic stuff. Thank you very much to come on at the top of the show. Great to have your views. Courtney Barrett there, founder of Binning Knives Saves Lives.